But there was a specific abbreviation that you mentioned in there, which we haven't talked about yet on the show, and I might never have talked about on any episode, actually, even though it is a really important core philosophy at our company, at my machine learning company, Nebula, is PLG. So that abbreviation stands for product-led growth.
Correct.
Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah. I think that software has really evolved, particularly in this last decade, where when you look at the beginning of the 2010 timeframe, you were still in a software market where enterprise salespeople had a bag, not physically, but metaphorically, that they carried. And there were products that they brought in that bag to a customer that they saw in person and asked that customer, how much would you like to buy of the things that are in my bag? Mm-hmm. And they're incredible enterprise software leaders that I've had a chance to work with over the years that did a tremendous job of delivering exactly what I just mentioned at scale to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars of software revenue in the businesses that I've been involved in. And particularly in the last 10 years, what we've started to see was not all software was bought that way. Mm-hmm. Not all software needed to even be consumed that way, mm-hmm. right? When you think about where developers need tools, when you think about where data scientists need tools, those opportunities aren't necessarily about a sales rep's coming to you with a bag of software and telling you that this is what you need. It's about the choice of being able to understand what are those opportunities that you're looking for a critical need to solve with a software set of tools, that you're making that decision without any sort of additional purchase consideration from someone pushing software down your throat. Mm-hmm. And in that case, what we started to see was this emergence of product-led growth companies, right? And so if you look at many product-led growth companies today, their predecessors a generation ago, were companies like Salesforce, companies now like HubSpot, companies like Alteryx and Tableau in the data space, where targeted personas were given an opportunity to trial software, to have free experiences around the software, to touch and feel what the software experience could look like before any dollar transaction was made. And so PLG growth is all about how do you build that wellspring of community, of loyal, incredible, delighted champions that love and breathe and eat the software that you're delivering to mm-hmm. them in a way that they become the natural champions for growth in an organization. Mm-hmm. And in a lot of ways, my experience of seeing a few generations of software more recently, particularly in the SaaS world, what I've realized is that it's not like enterprise selling is a bad word, and nor is it possible that you can just do PLG-based growth alone, unless you're Atlassian, which seems to have pulled that off. Very few names other than Atlassian. There might be one or two more, Canva probably. But in most cases, you need a very strong flywheel for product-led growth to encourage new logos to come on board by the personas that are targeted for the software that you're delivering at mm-hmm. scale. And eventually, you still need a very strong enterprise leader from a sales perspective mm-hmm. to come in and consolidate all that demand into a big enterprise opportunity. Yeah. And so my view is that the best software companies over time have two flywheels. One that enables you to land customers and logos with a product-led growth, and eventually expand customers with enterprise sales.
That was a really great answer. And maybe I can try to give like a bit of a concrete example to like illustrate this for our listeners. So to go back to Jasper, you talked about prosumers using Jasper, loving it for their content marketing. So you could imagine a scenario, a PLG scenario, potentially, and tell me if I get parts of this wrong, but you could have people who work at some big corporation. There's several people there who do content marketing. One of them comes across a blog post about Jasper. They're like, oh, cool, I'm going to try this out.
Click a button.
Yeah, they click it out. There's a free trial. They generate some content. They're like, wow, this is going, like I can now do in minutes what was taking me hours before. And so they tell their colleague, and their colleague starts using it too. And then after a while, you have all these content marketers in this big corporation who are all using it as kind of independently. They've just created their own accounts. Maybe they're using free accounts or some account that's $20 a month or something to get some of the extra features. And then as part of your flywheel, an enterprise sales manager can see, oh, look, there's 8 people at this big corporation all using a free version or a relatively inexpensive version of this. We have all these extra features, security features, ways that all these different people could be working together as part of an enterprise. And so now I'm going to pop in and see if these features would be interesting.
That's right. And when I said those two flywheels are interrelated to each other, the product analytics, right? The capabilities of just knowing where the instrumentation and usage of your champions and your day-to-day users brings back the insights that are necessary to understand where you can expand that market opportunity. And so some of the best software companies have great instrumentation and understanding of usage and behavior that eventually drives not only further adoption of the product on a daily active usage basis, but also drives the ability to sell enterprise licenses at scale.